I'm sorry. Was I muted?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, so I'm starting again. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry about it. Sejam bem-vindas e bem-vindos a este evento.
Please be welcome to this event. I'm going to speak in Portuguese, given that the majority of the participants are Portuguese. My name is Horatio Levy. I'm an economist, and I am participating in a project on the implementation of the Child Guarantee in Portugal. It's a collaboration between the OCDE and the structural reforms of the European Union. And of course, it revolves around the Child Guarantee. It's about giving technical assistance. This type of workshop will include the creation, obviously, of a discussion period so that we have an opportunity to analyze indicators. The objective of the workshop, of course, is not only to analyze these table of indicators, but also to implement them. Now, some rules about this, housekeeping rules about this event. First of all, mute when you're not speaking, as indicated on the slide. Equally, the interpreting channels are English and Portuguese. You will see on the lower end of this slide, you have the possibility of choosing between Portuguese or English. I would like to remind you that this is being taped, and for this reason, during the question and answer period, would you please use the question and answer symbol, should you wish, of course, to ask a question or even to share a comment with us. You can also use the hand symbol if you wish to ask a question, so that we will be informed that indeed you want to ask one. We have two distinct presentations today, and I want, of course, to thank the participation of both speakers. We will hear from Mariutte Pietlanen. She's a senior investigator of statistics of Finland, followed by Maria Navas de la Heras, who will also speak to us about the Child Guarantee. Each presentation will last for 20 minutes, and we will allow for 10 minutes following each presentation for question and answers. So once again, please do not forget to use the symbols should you want to ask questions. Now, before we move on to the presentations, I would like to ask Florin Poppa, please, and then Sonia Almeida, who will follow for their introductory words. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Horacio. Good morning, everybody. My name is Florin Poppa. I'm working in DG Reform, European Commission. DG Reform is the Directorate General that offers technical support to all member states in the preparation and implementation of reforms. I would like to just start by saying how grateful and pleased I am to be today in this workshop with all of you. And I would like to extend my thanks to the National Child Guarantee Coordination Unit, to the local units, and obviously to the OECD team, and to all other Portuguese stakeholders for being here, for their involvement, for their commitment to the project, commitment and involvement on which we rely for the reminder of our work. I want to say that what we do in this project will only be useful and will only be meaningful and translate into change if it is taken over by people working with children at local level, and if they will find the results of this project actionable, useful, relevant. Now, I don't have to tell you what is the context in which we develop this project. Disadvantage, exclusion, especially at an early age, have a lasting impact on the children's development and ability to succeed later. In 2023, a quarter of the children at European level, I'm talking about persons below 18 years old, were at risk of poverty and social exclusions, and that's compared to 20.5 of the adults. But it's also this is also declined in different ways, because, for instance, 10%, only 10% of the children in the EU were at risk of poverty or social exclusion, compared to 10% of the children whose parents had a high level of education were at risk of poverty or social exclusion, compared to 61.8% of children whose parents' education level was low. So there are huge discrepancies, and this also relates to country contexts and regional context. I can tell you that the figure for Portugal, so children at risk of social poverty and social exclusion in 2023, was 22.6, which situates Portugal somewhere in the middle, maybe the lower half of the range at EU level. Now, obviously, this requires action at national level, regional, local level, but also at EU level. And what we try to do at the level of the European Commission is to propose a framework, legislative, regulatory framework that is backed up by support, technical support and financing, so that member states can organize their own system of child protection and integrated services. And obviously, this project is taking place in the context of the European Child Guarantee. But probably some of you know that there is also another strategy that was put forward by the European Commission in 2021, and that's the EU Strategy on the Rights of the Child, which is basically putting forward a proposed legal policy and support framework for all measures, all policy measures related to children. And the two, so the European Child Guarantee and the EU Strategy on the Rights of the Child, function in a complementary way. Now, what we do in DG Reform, we do different things, some of them having a direct link to the implementation of the European Child Guarantee in different member states. Some others having a less direct link, but nevertheless being directly related to support measures focusing on the child. And I would like to very briefly give you some examples of technical support that we offer to different countries. So for instance, we are working with Portugal together with Bulgaria in a multi-country project to improve the quality of early childhood education and care. So that is for kids up to 6 years old. And the project is focusing on the governance, monitoring, and evaluation of the early childhood education and care sector. We have another project that is focusing on the mental health care for the well-being of vulnerable children. And this is also multi-country with Spain, Cyprus, Italy, and Slovenia. Mental health is a huge issue. It's coming up more and more on the political agenda. Will be with us for a while, and we have already different projects in different member states that somehow try to focus on what is needed for kids and young people so that they are at the center of the policy action rather than their parents or themselves being in a position to look around in a very scattered landscape of supports. Another project is focusing on this Barnahus model, and that is in Croatia. The Barnahus is kind of a child-friendly center where under one roof, law enforcement, criminal justice, healthcare services, child protective services, mental health, all the professionals gather around the child so that children who are victims of abuse can have the right interventions in one place. And this is really saying something about the philosophy that is at the core of all this intervention, is that basically you designed the policy with the best interest of the child in mind, and the child is at the center. So it's not about the procedures, not about the workflows, bureaucracy, whatever. It's really about how to what are the needs of the child and how to best address them in a way that is most conducive to a normal development. So these are just a few examples to give you a flavor of what technical support through DG Reform can do, and obviously you will hear much more today about our project. I would like to end just saying that first of all, this workshop today focuses on the importance of data availability and data quality in order to keep track of progress and to be able to adjust policies when it comes to child protection and child services. So this entails a lot of different aspects. I mean, data is often scattered, different data sources of various quality. So there's the issue of interoperability, compatibility of data, interoperability. There's also an issue of designing the right and relevant indicators in order to make sense of data. Also, the issue of these indicators actually being measurable, so having the relevant data to populate them. And there's also the issue of involvement of the right people, those who are in a position to actually use these monitoring and evaluation tools, because they have a voice in this. The second and final point that I want to make is about national ownership. Whatever we do in this project, we do it with a view to making a real change on the ground in Portugal for kids. So no matter how good the results of the projects are at technical level, the methodologies, the frameworks, the governance models, whatever comes out of this project will only be as good as the application and the follow-up at national level. And that's why I would like to insist on the fact that we are here to support the Child Guarantee Coordination Unit and all the rest of the stakeholders for a definite period of time. But what happens then with the results of the project is really essential. And that's why we want to make sure that these results are really relevant. They respond to the needs right here and now, and they are actionable. And with this, I would like to thank you again for being here with us today and for being part of this common effort. And I really look forward to a fruitful discussion. Thank you.
Muito obrigada, Florin.
Thank you very much, Florin. Once again, there's a little more to add after this brilliant introduction by Florin. The European Commission is indeed very committed to placing the child at the core of everything. And of course, this leaves us extremely satisfied because there have been indeed several initiatives that have bet on policies that target children as a priority, because children are the future of all countries, including in Europe. So if they have a healthy life path, if they have a positive life path, then obviously they'll bear fruits later on. Now, of course, we have many people that participated yesterday. Today's topic is a little different, and I want to thank all of the team that is here today, Horatio, everyone that has of representing the OCDE, And of course, that has helped us with regards to this guarantee for children. It arose in 2021, and of course, it was immediately put into practice in Portugal. We have an action plan that has been in practice since January of 2023. So when we're speaking about monitoring, for us at least, it has always been a tremendous concern and a tremendous priority for us, since we know the absolutely important role that it can have, and it can help us to identify specific problems. And it's by means of this identification that we can actually obtain true advantages. That is, we can have a true impact on the lives of these children. So the action plan is at the center for us. We have 76 measures in total that we want to put into practice by means of multiple organizations and entities that will be responsible for its execution. But this guarantee, since the very, very beginning, the child guarantee in Portugal, the idea is to have a system in Portugal that will allow us to better understand the true impact that these measures can have in the lives of children. So it is from this starting point that we have this project that we're now working on. We are quite aware of the limitations that we have, specifically, should we want to develop a tool of this type. And this is why we decided to have or to request for this technical assistance that is of the absolute most importance to us. The idea again of monitoring, of course, this is important, but our expectation is that, in fact, we need a monitoring system that, on the one hand, can add value to those who work closely in the field at a local level. And of course, many times they have to gather large quantities of information and data. So indeed, this tool will help to better identify the data and will help to ease the work of those who work at a local level. But also, we know that there is a detailed world of information. And so it needs to be taken advantage of by those who work locally and not only those who work centrally. So the idea to have a monitoring system that takes into consideration this reality at a local level and can help us actually create a bridge between local and national and vice versa. Of course, it will help us to bring true wealth in having access to information that will allow us, in fact, to better assess the real impact of these measures in the field, because this is what we want. So this tool that will help us again to monitor is a tool that undoubtedly will be very useful to the national coordination if we take into consideration the monitoring, not only locally, but also nationally when we're communicating with the European Commission. That requires a detailed knowledge of what's happening at the local level. So for us, this indeed will be added value, but mostly for those, again, who work very closely at a local level. When we think about the child being at the central or nucleus of any diagram, of course, it has to do with a community. It has to do with a communitarian organization. We speak of a child guarantee that takes into consideration the access of children to a wide array of services, sectorial services that will be absolutely pivotal to our work. They are very important at a central level, but equally at a local one. The methodology and the plan, the fact that it is presenting this particular plan, of course, our expectation is that this network, this local network that places the child at the true core, that tries at a first phase to identify the several problems.
The microphone is off.
Did you hear me? I'm sorry. Was I muted the entire time? Only the last 2 minutes, Sonia. So you only heard the last 2 minutes? No, Sonia. We heard everything, but then you got muted in the last 2 minutes. I apologize. I will continue. Above all, this monitoring system, besides the fact that we want it to be an added value, again, for those who are working at a local level and that are responsible, obviously, for a local diagnosis, and of course, we want it to reflect the local policy so that we can make the most adequate answers in accordance with the problems of the territory. Undoubtedly, it is an added value for us to use it as an assessment tool, again, so that we can truly measure the impact to children policies. This will allow us to better assess the situation, but also it's an opportunity so that we can always adapt measures that can best correspond to the needs of children. This is our main expectation. This is what we want to work on. Not only the identification, but its application. We don't want to be very exhaustive. I know that Horacio will also speak about this matter. We're talking about detailed work that needs to be closely analyzed, but of course we want it to be an added value and mostly a very useful tool for those who work in the field. This is what we want, and we believe that it'll be a tremendous added value to the child guarantee. So I'm sure that we will be responding to the objectives of the European Commission, when it decided to implement it throughout Europe. So thank you very much for everyone's participation. I hope that this workshop will be fruitful for everyone. I'm hoping that the discussion will be heated. I'm hoping that there's a lot of participation. I think this is why we're here. We want to know about your difficulties, your challenges. We want to hear about your problems so we can find the very best solutions. So please feel free to participate. These are your moments. And we want to make sure that everyone has a fair chance to do so. Hopefully, we'll organize more workshops. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Horacio. And now I'm going, obviously, to pass the floor, and while thanking my colleagues from Finland for accepting this invitation.
As experiências de outros países que de facto já têm aqui caminho feito.
It is very important that we learn with the experience of those who have already more experience, thus contributing to us to evolve. And allow me to say that this is one of the best added values we can have in works like this and this international project, is the fact that we can be permanently in contact with countries and realities that will allow us to understand that the implementation of certain systems are now in an assessment stage, which can only be beneficial to us. Thank you very much to our colleagues from Spain, Maria, and to Finland. So I'll give the floor to Mariut from Finland. Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Obrigada. Obrigada. Can you see the screen now in the presentation mode?
Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. Obrigada and bom dia, everybody. I'm really happy to be here. I'm a big fan of Portugal, and have many friends there. So my name is Marjut Pietiläinen, and I work as a senior researcher and team leader at Statistics Finland. And I will tell you briefly now our experiences on the knowledge base on children in Finland. And our task concerned or was part of the National Child Strategy, which was the first time in Finland published in 2021. And the vision of the strategy is a child and family-friendly Finland, where the rights of the child are respected. The aim is to mainstream children's rights and status so that children are consistently taken into consideration in all policies and activities alongside the other members of society, and that children are informed of their rights. The strategy pays special attention to securing the status of vulnerable children and better recognizing their needs. The implementation plan had altogether 30 measures, and one of these, the measure number 24, concerned the production of comprehensive knowledge base for monitoring well-being of children and young people. And we all know that for decision-making and monitor the well-being of children, we need a strong knowledge base, and this was our common will to start the work in Finland. In accordance with the measure 24 of the strategy, Statistics Finland was tasked with producing a comprehensive picture of state of knowledge about child well-being, identifying blind spots in the knowledge base, and making a proposal for child data portal. The aim was to combine information about children on a single website to promote the use of the data in a way that supports children's rights. The work has been rewarding and very necessary. Despite previous efforts to compile child data, no comparable overviews of the state of knowledge about children have been done before. This overview has been necessary because information about children is scattered, as told previously already here, and there are many data producers. In addition, a wide range of users have different data needs. Although there is a wealth of information available about children, even a surprisingly large amount, there are still blind spots that need to be better addressed in the future. So in this presentation, I will give a brief overview of the task we conducted under the measure 24, and you can get more information from the paper, background paper, and the original report. Those are both available in English. First, a couple of words about our how we worked. We had a project team at Statistics Finland, and there were 4 persons altogether. One was working full-time about the 1 year that this project lasted. And then there were 3 of us who were working part-time on this project. But as you see that one person was working full-time 1 year with this, it was a lot of work. So it wasn't an easy task. And then we had a steering group that were very large and committed. There were representatives from different ministries, and organizations, non-governmental organizations and research institutes, for example, Finnish National Agency for Education, Mannerheim League for Child Welfare, Secretary General for National Child Strategy under the Prime Minister's Office, Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare, Children's Foundation ITLA, Diverse Families Network, Central Union for Child Welfare, and of course Statistics Finland, State Youth Council, Ministry of Social Affairs and Health, and Social Insurance Institution, and others as well. To achieve a comprehensive picture of data needs and use of data, the measure was carried out in close cooperation with the stakeholders. And I must tell that there was a very, very strong commitment of all these stakeholders, and we had a common will, and these were very crucial for this project. And we also worked and cooperated with the measure 25 of the strategy, and that measure was led by the Ministry of Finance, and in that measure a survey was conducted among municipalities and hospital districts, and the questionnaire in their survey also included questions on what kind of data gaps had been identified at regional level. Also, blind spots were mapped in other stakeholder meetings, and further observations were made over the course of the indicator work. And we have been given numerous presentations, and we have written articles and blogs, and we have also made some infographics and used social media in dissemination information. The indicator framework, the work started with a review of the theoretical framework for the well-being of children and young people. For example, the methods for the measurement of child well-being and the concept of well-being as a whole were outlined based on the OECD report entitled Measuring What Matters for Child Well-being and Policies. The early stages of the work involved getting acquainted with previous indicator work carried out at national and international level. And in addition, different sources of indicators were mapped. The initial mapping already showed that there was a huge amount of information. More than 40 initial sources of data were identified. Due to the large amount of the data, it was deemed necessary at an early start to establish a classification. To establish a reference model for the classification of the well-being indicators. The reference model served as a basis for knowledge base that consists of child well-being indicators. The reference model was based on earlier models of well-being, but the aim was to keep the different domains of well-being manageable. It was therefore decided that the model should have total 8 well-being domains. These are population, health and well-being, hobbies and leisure, social connections, participation, education and early childhood, education and care, housing and living conditions, safety and services, benefits and other support of society. In the ninth domain, demographic indicators describes the demographic structure of the child population. And then our next step was to start to actual compilation of indicators to an Excel file to serve as a roadmap. And the mapping covered all indicators describing children and young people aged under 30, but it soon became clear that the volume of data would be too large and could be unmanageable, and it was therefore decided to limit the indicators children aged under 18. It was also decided to focus on nationally produced data because combining internationally coordinated data resource with other child data is challenging. And even restrictions, the volume of data describing child well-being was huge. We found overall 2,400 indicators for the roadmap. And when looking at the indicators as a whole, it's important to note that the indicators do not form an immutable database because there will be new background variables, for example, to the registered data, or the data content of the service may change, and sometimes even the data producer can change. For example, in Finland, the child victimization survey and also the early education information. The list of indicators is therefore continuously evolves over time, at least to some extent. So we can't lock it to some states, but it will develop further and change a little bit. We further categorized the indicators into smaller sets within the different domains of the reference model, and the classification stage revealed the limitations of the earlier siloed reference model. And one indicator can now belong to more than one well-being domain at the same time. And the indicators were limited to those directly related to child well-being. The indicators that we selected to the roadmap had to be based on data that we regularly produced for the time series to be available. This restriction excluded individual and one-off studies from the mapping. And here you can see first three domains. We have education and early childhood education and care. There were 347 indicators, and there were both survey and register-based data available, and more data available for children aged 13 to 17 years, and then also quite a lot of information under 7-year-old children, but a little bit less for the children aged 7 to 12. And then we had hobbies, 244 indicators, and less information for the under the age of 7. And information on that topic is mainly based on surveys. There were only, if I remember correctly, only one indicator with the registered data. And housing and living conditions are also important because of the children's growing environment perspective, and there were 154 indicators and more information for the older children than younger ones, but also both available, and also survey and register-based data. Then we had health and well-being with 336 indicators, and it includes indicators that truly describe children's health, well-being, and life or lifestyle, and most of the indicators are based on survey data. Then the domain of safety extensively examines children's safety in different settings and situations. And this domain is the most comprehensive in the reference model and comprises altogether 608 indicators. And the focus is on the oldest age group. And then the services in this domain include both specialized and primary healthcare services and social services. And social security benefits for children and families includes benefits for families with children, rehabilitation benefits, and disability benefits. Other social supports includes youth shelters, helplines, and outreach youth work. And there were a lot of register information on that. And then we come to the social connections, participation, and population statistics. And trusting relationship with a safe adult is one of the most important factors protecting a child's well-being throughout childhood. Children themselves also mention social relationships as an important area of well-being. Loneliness and a lack of friendships can cause anxiety and depression in children. Although social relationships are an important factor for children's well-being, this domain has lowest number of the indicators, only 70 indicators, and mainly survey information. Inclusion and participation mean participation in society, opportunities to influence, and sense of belonging to a community. There are only 72 indicators in this domain, and mainly survey-based information, and then demographic indicators are needed to provide background data on the child population and families in Finland. A total of 168 indicators, demographic indicators, describes children and families in this domain. The demographic indicators cover all individuals aged from 0 to 17 years, and except for data on newborns and a few other indicators. And then conclusions about the state of the child data in Finland. There are a lot of information on children, but it's dispersed in different places, and it's very difficult to find those data because those are so scattered. And there are a great number of data producers, but it's not very coordinated by anyone. So in that, I always say this cooperation is very important, and also we need not to do the same things in different places. So cooperation in that sense is important. Then dispersed information leads to weak combinability of the data, and it's also important. And also there is a limited collaboration among data producers, and also in some cases there is competition of the same resources. And we need to discuss that also with other data producers and in our cooperation. And data continuity is one big problem or a question, because we can't be sure that surveys are conducted regularly, or if there are financial issues, those might affect also how the data will be available later on. And there is a lot of untapped information collected in child health care centers and school health care, so this could be more utilized also. And there are needs for data on region level, and it's not always met, and there is lack of regional level follow-up indicators. And for proposals in developing the database, we suggest to production of child data needs a coordinator and a cooperation group. And also we are suggesting the cooperation in data production and at least to find out the possibilities and also the possibilities to restrictions to use untapped data. And for register data, these regional indicators for regional use should be selected in cooperation with the data users and common practices. And all data should be gathered in the same database to create a common data source to help people to find the data and use it easily. And it's also cost efficient, if I say. And one child data portal could be built on the child database. And then I have only this obrigado slide here, but I would like to say that we had a little bit time here that we have been waiting how this will go on, because there was a governmental change in Finland, and now in this new parliamentary situation we are waiting. And just last week we got a message from the ministry that they are organizing a meeting. So I hope this work will go on quite soon and developed in Finland. But thank you all so much, and I will be happy to tell you more if you have questions, if I can answer, and then also you can send emails as well. And I will put the links to the chat to our reports. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marliet, for the presentation, and congratulations again for the amazing work that you have done. I don't see any questions for the moment. One question was about your PowerPoint presentation. If we can share it, if it would.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, I sent it already, so please share it.
Yeah, we'll send to participants after the meeting. Is there any pressing question? So given that we are running a little bit behind schedule because we started a little bit late, maybe what we can do is jump to the next presentation, and then we can, so that you have more time to think about your questions, and then we can use this. We can go through them during the Q&A. And please don't be shy to use the Q&A to add your questions. So if that's all right with you, then I'm gonna invite Maria Navas to present. Maria, the floor is yours.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me? Okay.
Hello, Maria.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the presentations. It's been very interesting, this meeting. Okay, I'm going to share a screen. Okay. A ver, okay, let me see. Can you see the presentation? In big size, or?
Yes, it's perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I'm part of the team. I'm part of the technical team of the General Directorate of the Rights of Children, belongs to the new Ministry of Youth of Children that was created in the last government at the beginning of the year. And my colleague Ramon is here also. He's from the TIC department, and he's supporting me with this presentation in case something happens, and also because he is working with us in the development of the tool that we are implementing. Well, so the objective of our presentation is to tell you, to share the reporting and monitoring system that we are implementing in Spain to follow up the European Child Guarantee, the actions of the guarantee. For this, I will tell you briefly how is our national action plan. This is the cover of our NAP, and the structure of our plan is done in 3 axes that you can see in the screen. The first one is the objectives are, well, the plan has 25 specific objectives and 88 measures to cover the 3 axes. The first part of the plan is about fighting child poverty by increasing social protection, and we have all these 4 main objectives for this axis. The second axis, which is the larger one, is about the universal access to the essential services. And the third axis is like the third axis is promotion of regional equity and creation of protective and participatory environments. And here you can see the main objectives of these 3 axes in which we structure our plan. In Spain, there is a very complex division of competences between the national, regional, and local authorities. Most of the services covered by the European Child Guarantee belong to the regional governments, to the autonomous communities. So we have set up, and this is an important part of our plan, we have set up a governance system in which the coordination of the European Child Guarantee is in our directorate, belongs to the Ministry of Children and Adolescents. And what we do is to coordinate, to communicate, to create synergies, and to give the guidelines. And we have elaborated the plan with the participation of all the governments, the different levels of governments. But our role is really to coordinate, because the main competences we have of the services that are covered by the Child Guarantee are, as I said, belong to the communities. Okay, so our role is, the central level is to coordinate. Then at political level, we have created an interministerial committee and sectorial conferencias sectoriales, sectorial conferences with regional government. And then at operational and consultant level, we have a working group of Child Guarantee coordinators, and also we have the third sector, the participation of children and adolescents, and the Childhood Observatory, where we gather the academic sector, the third sector. So it's like a sharing of experiences. In this operational and consultant level, one main aspect, one main crucial thing that we have done is that we have in each regional government, we have a single point of contact for the European Child Guarantee. So we have, so us, at central level, we are the national coordinator of the European Child Guarantee, and in each autonomous community, in each regional government, we have appointed a single point of contact, who works as regional coordinator for the European Child Guarantee. This person is crucial in the development because they are the ones who gather the information of the different departments, health, nutrition, education in each local government. I hope it's clear. I don't want to be extended, but this is a very important, because it's how we gather all the information, and it's important for the tool we are developing. So in conclusion, to wrap up, the success of our national action plan depends on the addition of the individual efforts of the autonomous communities. It is essential for us to promote collaboration and cooperation. And we have this year, we have done, recently, we have done a study of the level of alignment of the regional strategic documents of child poverty with the objectives of the NAP, because we have our national action plan that is shared with the local community, with the regional governments, but also they also have their own plans. So we have studied the main documents. We have gathered the main documents at a regional level, and we have aligned, and we have categorized the documents, the strategic documents. I think it's clear. Sorry to repeat. Okay. So, well, the role of each part of the role of each level of government, each level of government have responsibilities on implementation, on follow-up, and on participation and learning. In Chapter 10 of our National Action Plan, we commit to set up a monitoring and evaluation system. As the level of investment is very high from Europe and also from our regional and central governments, there is this payback that we have to give in the form of reporting. So it is already from the plan that it is briefly explained that our monitoring system has to give has to ensure the following actions: has to create a common indicator framework, has to follow up. Is it okay? Can you hear me? Can you?
Yes, sorry about it. We
prosegui, Maria.
Okay. So, so what we want to create with this solid reporting system is, in first place, a common framework of indicator where we are crossing all the indicators that each regional government uses to monitor their actions, the indicators that we at central level are implementing or are using, and also the European indicator framework. Also, this solid system for monitoring has to follow up on the actions that are being implemented at regional level, and also for the other ministries that are implicated on these services of the guarantee. And also this monitoring system has to be a learning community. So we are also creating a comunidad de aprendizaje, a learning community to research, to exchange practices and knowledge. With this, the number 2, the follow-up report of implemented actions is what we need to planificate and to change the actions that are not, well, to planificate and to change the actions that are not working as expected, and also is the source for our biennial report for the European Union. Again, we have to be we have to fine-tune very precisely who does what on this report system. So as the Directorate for the Rights of Children, where the national coordinator of the Guarantee, our role is to develop actions that guarantee the communication and the coordination, and between the ministries and regions, and provide the channels for the exchange of information. And here is where we are creating a tool to be able to do this, to be able to collect all the information from the regional and the ministry, from the regional governments and from the ministries. And also we are creating a tool to visualize that information, because it is gather the information, and also we have so many information that we have to have a digital tool to visualize, to make use of that information. I make a parenthesis to say that as we still don't have the tool this year, until from what we have done during the summer, for this first time, we have done this collection of information manually with an online questionnaire, with an Excel chart, and we have been forced to work on that information manually also. So what we want to have is to systematize this information and this work to use it from now to 2030. And also, so I go back to the presentation, the role of the regional coordinators is to centralize the relevant information on the actions that they are implementing on the governments. As you, well, I tell you, in Spain, I don't know, there is the regional coordinator who has to talk to the local governments and who has to talk and gather the information at his time from the different services of the community, from education, from health, from nutrition, from extracurricular activities, and so on. So it's quite a work, but it has been a success to have appointed, with the support of high, well, with the support of the government, to have this person appointed, with whom we gather every 3 or 6 months, and we make a follow-up. So in the overview of our reporting system, you can, well, what we have is what we want to gather. So the information to gather is the implemented actions for the current period, and the actions planned for next year. The responsibilities, we can say that there are 3 profiles in the tool. It is the national coordination, I mean us, the involved ministries, and the regional governments. Who is going to receive this information? The European Commission, all level of governments, because we're going to share the information with all level of national governments, civil society and third sector, and children and adolescents. Timing, we collect the information once a year. How? With the information, with the tool to collect information, and with the tool to visualize the information. The detail of the information to be collected on the digital application, we have well, the contact information. I will be quick, you can read it later. The information about the action, we try to be specific, as we're going to have our colleagues from the regions gathering the information once a year. We want, and the system is going to save the information year by year. So maybe so as there are actions that are repeated year after year because they are pluriannual, once they charge the information, then the next year the work is done. They will just have to copy, paste, and the system has this function. So we try to be specific and to get as more detail as possible, but what is really needed. So the name of the action, initiative, or project, description, we leave open space to write, the objectives, the entities participating in the implementation, to what group of children the action is targeting. Our NAP has 12 groups of target groups of vulnerable children. The timing of the action, if it is pluriannual, annual. Then we give a full chart of the 88 measures I mentioned that our NAP has. We ask, this action that you are implementing, to which measure of the National Action Plan is contributing, and how is it contributing? And also we say, okay, it contributes directly to this measure, but indirectly, how does it contribute to other measures? Because maybe all these 88 measures are related. So maybe you say, well, maybe there is somebody who says, okay, we are implementing public libraries in the neighborhood. Okay, that contributes directly to, well, they can contribute directly or indirectly. And then type of action and scale of the action. We want to know if the action that they are implementing is political, is strategical to all the national territory. If it is a specific measure and an operative program, well, or if it is a small scale action. And then we ask for the financial information, which is, okay, what are you doing, to which public, to which group of children, and how much are you spending, and from where does it come, from which fund, from which European fund, or maybe it is state finance. Well, sorry. From where does the money comes from? So we give different options. It is from Europe, from which fund, it is from regional funds, or it is state fund, or whatever. And so we want to know here what is the contribution and how much money, how much is the investment. Oh, well, here sorry, it's doubled. This is doubled. And here we have prepared some screenshot information on how the tool looks. It is still not launched, but it's very advanced. We plan to have it in a couple of months maximum. So what we say, well, then here you can see the years, the initiative, the action. Here the region, and Andalusia in this case. Here you can modify the action, you can erase the action. Another screenshot, the initiative, the year, and here is what we, well, it's only a screenshot because I didn't want to share the tool itself, but maybe later on we can we can send a demo of the link of the tool. Well, here is how we plan to visualize the information. It is done with business intelligence, and this is a second part that it will take a little longer. First, we will have the tool for collecting information, and later we will have the tool for visualization and to be able to make charts. It's not very complicated. What we want to know is, to this measure of our plan, how much is investing in this region, how much is the investment in general, which is the measure that has more projects, and so on. So be able to visualize and have a percentage and have the information ready to use. I don't know if Ramon wants to. Ramon, you are my colleague from TIC who knows more from business intelligence. Ramon, is something do you want to add?
Everything is totally clear with your explanation, Maria. Thank you so much. And bon dia, everyone, by the way. I think the success of the project is because of and will be because of the governance model you defined, because that's the really important thing, with all the focal points and so on, the different roles you defined, and the technology is supporting everything you defined. So technology is a tool, a supporting tool, an enabler, but nothing more. So I think everything is clear from your explanation, Maria.
Okay. Well, here I put another screenshot, yes, of maybe what we intend to show. Like I said, the total budget, the number of implemented initiatives in one given period. So this is the plan and the what we are working on. There are challenges to implement the reporting system, which are that we are going to report on a large volume of information, the decentralization of competence that I talked about, and the construction of this governance system. We have, in these meetings that we have with the regional appointed focal person, we have shared the plan, and we plan, once we launch the tool, we will make a brief, we will make some learning, some explanation. So we want to have everybody really involucrado, really involved in this information and in this reporting work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria, for your presentation, and congratulations for the work that you're doing. It looks very promising, and I think also very informative and kind of a good suggestion for our own project. The same thing for Mario's presentation. I think that in fact they were quite complementary, given that one was talking more about indicators of outcomes. What's the well-being situation of children in Finland, and in your case, in the case of Maria, showing more the implementation part of the child guarantee, the actions that are being taken, and how to measure and monitor the implementation of indicators. I don't see for the moment questions in the Q&A, and I don't see any hands raised. There was one question by Ramon on the chat. On the Q&A that Mario already replied. I don't know if you all have seen. It was about the amazing amount of information that they have processed in the Finnish project, 2,400 indicators, and so Ramon was asking, okay, well, you have a lot of information, but
Horácio, peço muita desculpa de interromper, mas creio que eu pelo menos não estou a ter acesso à interpretação. Tenho receio que isso possa comprometer a compreensão. Peço desculpa ter interrompido, mas...
No.
Não sei se é só em português, se é em inglês.
Tem algum problema com a interpretação? Eu não sei quem está interpretando no momento. Que mira? Parece ser que não que a tradução não está.
Eu em português, eu seleciono o português, não sei se me está a acontecer só a mim ou se mais pessoas na sala. Muito bem, muito bem, muito bem.
Sim,
Excelente.
eu também não estou a conseguir. Sim.
Excelente.
Okay,
Peço desculpa, mas de facto estava a ouvir o Horácio falar em inglês e como não identificava a interpretação, muito obrigada.
Obrigado, Sônia, por me avisar. Eu estou com dois computadores, um em português e outro em inglês, mas bom, em versão original, então não tinha percebido.
I was not aware that you couldn't hear the interpreting momentarily.
English into Portuguese, so that for the rest of the participants. Eu simplesmente estava dizendo que as duas apresentações são
The
complementares.
two presentations, in my opinion, are complementary. They demonstrate indicators and the impact on the well-being of children. So in the Spanish presentation, we could clearly understand how actions are being implemented. We think that it'll be absolutely pivotal, actually. And now in the chat, there is a question about the number of indicators for the Finnish project. And I remember that Ramon also had mentioned that with all of this information, how can we actually be simple? How can simplicity be attained so that everything is quite clear? For society in general. Now, I see here that there's some questions. Ana Vizinho. And you would like to ask a question? Ana Vizinho, please.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Do they have access to? Can they speak?
Yes, I don't know who's speaking. I don't know what's happening.
Well, since I don't see.
Bom dia, desculpem. Não estava conseguindo.
Good morning. I was having difficulty turning the volume on. I apologize. I'm going to ask you the question in Portuguese, beside the fact that I speak English, but I prefer to speak in Portuguese. I have the two questions. The first one for Spain. For how long have you been developing the digital tool that you mentioned to gather information? And the second one, if the local representatives and regional representatives, if they have direct access to the platform, because local authorities, it could be a possibility for them to access directly the platform so that they can directly insert information into the system. And thank you very much.
Could you hear the translation in English? Rain, please let me know. Could you hear the translation in English?
Maria?
¿Cuánto tiempo hacer utilizada? Sorry, I had the microphone open. When we are going to start using the tool, quite soon. Now we did this tool with a I mean, we con un contrato, we had a contract for this tool. It was appointed to one TIC company, and we are doing internally with our TIC department. So the tool is going to be in our system, because we had technically, this was a problem that delayed some TIC companies that develop and that work with these systems wanted to make the tool and have them in their server. We wanted to own the tool, the information and everything, so it's going to be on our server, on server. So it is quite advanced. We plan to have it for in a couple of months, and then do the presentation to the ministries and to the communities. And for the next period of information collecting, that will be about February, March, we plan to be using the tool. And also, I read another question here regarding the indicators of impact. Well, there is a part of the tool that will be asking about the impact of this action. But normally the actions are for several years. So when we ask in February what actions you have implemented this previous exercise, this previous year, they still don't know the impact. They can, in objectives, they have to state what are the objectives of this action, but they are reporting more on what actions I implemented this period, what actions I'm going to implement next period, and in objectives there is a part where we also require information about indicators, but this is dangerous, because in the previous collection of information that we did manually, we found more than 300 indicators, because the communities were given, well, there is still work to do on the indicators, and I'm not expert on that, but so to answer the question, we ask about impact indicators on the action, on the field of objective. What is the objective of this action?
I think another question from Anna was about the access.
Problema de som.
Não? Não se
Quem
entende?
está na interpretação em português não está a ouvir um som repetitivo. Todas as pessoas me estão a dizer que sim.
Sim, sim. Estamos a ouvir.
Estamos.
Estamos a ouvir, sim.
Temos um ruído de
Estamos a
uma
ouvir.
pessoa a dizer a última vez, a última vez, a última vez.
Ficou em looping.
Exatamente. Pronto, ok. Por momentos pensei que era só eu.
Não.
E continua. Está contínuo.
Verdade.
Até já verifiquei, em inglês não temos problemas, mas em português... Pronto, quando pomos em inglês, para. Quando pomos português, está um looping a dizer a última vez. E não para.
Nossa, é angustiante.
Conseguem ouvir? Horácio, confirmem-me só se estão
sim.
também a ouvir.
Tá, ouve-se bastante.
Sim,
Ok,
Sim,
ok.
ouve-se.
So, I'm sorry for the English speakers, but in the Portuguese channel there is a problem. There is a voice looping
E uma vez.
same
Eu vou ter que tirar do
words
português, que isto
over
é...
and over again. It's I don't know what we can do. Okay, I muted Mira.
Já terminou, uma vez. Não. Continua.
Ok.
Ok, agora sim,
Quando
terminou.
eu coloquei em mudo a interpretadora e então assim vocês não ouvem a repetição, mas claro, vocês também não podem ouvir a tradução.
Já está outra vez, Horácio.
Yeah. I'm really sorry for this. I'm sorry for this. No. I'm really sorry about this. I don't know what to do. Would it be possible maybe for the other translator to take over and we can keep Mira off?
Hi, this is Teresa again. Can you hear me without an echo? Can you hear me without an echo?
Themselves. So this focal point has to gather information from each, from his or her, from each community, and they put the information. This maybe Ramon can explain a little bit. Ramon, if you can support me with this about the profiles.
Yeah, sure.
So sorry, just a second. I'm going to translate because we're having this problem of translation. So I'm going to do it myself.
Yes.
So para dizer então que a informação vai ser colocada pelas comunidades autônomas. São elas que vão ter acesso ao tool, ao instrumento e colocar a informação.
For one person on each community. From the focal point. The focal point will have access, will have a profile, and will upload the information of its community.
Então, uma pessoa vai colocar informação por comunidade.
This is a key aspect, because when developing the tool, we had to create different profiles. One profile, Ramon, maybe you can explain it better briefly, because there is not much time, but there are different types of profile in the tool.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you want to translate, Horacio, sorry.
Yeah, so there are different profiles of users in the tool, and Ramon now is going to give more details about it.
I think we needed Portuguese.
Ramon?
Acho que agora a interpretação está funcionando. Ok, muito obrigado. Ok, obrigado. Okay, the problem with the translation is solved. It's safe.
Okay. So really briefly, as Maria explained, we have a focal point from the regional governments who should be able to gather all information and put it on the system, but also they can even appoint more people to do this data gathering and create the data in the tool. The tool is a web application, so you can access it from wherever, if you have the access created, of course, the user. So it's a possibility for them to put it themselves or to appoint more people to do it. And that would be the governance or the focal point who should decide that. And well, the tool is technically prepared for that.
What we do at a central level is validate the information. There will be like a pop-up, and we receive, there is new information, so we validate. We have like a God profile. We validate the information. If there is something wrong, we send it back to the source, or we approve it.
There's another question. No, sorry, the question was already this one from Anna. Mario, I have a few questions for you. The first one is about the collection of indicators. How were you able to identify the data sources, and how did you collect the data? Was it like a desk research? Did you look yourself for the different type of data sources that were available, or was it through the context that you had in the steering group that they told you, which data sources were available? I'm saying this because I'm doing this kind of work for the Portuguese project, and sometimes the issue is to know where to find information, where the information.
Do you mean in this first gather of information that we did manually?
No, I'm asking. In fact, this question is for Mario.
Okay, sorry.
For Finland.
Great, great.
Yeah, thank you, Horacio. It was mainly, we started by ourselves to study where we can find information. Nobody told us where we should look, but we gathered all kind of information we could find by ourselves, and then the cooperation and stakeholders, they gave also input and ideas and the information. We had those kind of small workshops and these kind of things, and they were very valuable to get the information. But there was steering group was not ruling us where to look. It was really wide, and it was a huge work. I have to say that it took time.
And a follow-up question. So once you have identified the data source, then for a follow-up, for the actualization of the data, did you carry on doing this actualization yourselves, or once you have identified the data source, then you have established a contact with the data source, with the data provider, so that they would let you know when there were updates?
Yeah. We had contacts and we got information. It was really good and strong cooperation between different data producers. Of course, we know quite a lot of them already beforehand, so we had connections already. So, and I forgot to mention in my presentation, but we because there was this question in the question and answer box, that we also color coded the indicators to indicate whether the indicator is describing well-being or ill-being, or so that kind of we made already, but the other things are coming at the next stars. It's a long process and big process, but we are going to the right direction, I think.
Thank you. I don't see any questions for the moment. Or wait. Oh yes, Amanda.
Oh, hi, Horacio. So because I'm a co-host, I cannot send the questions through the Q&A feature, but I'm going to pose it here. It's a question to Spain, to Maria, and to Ramon. Something that you mentioned during the presentation was the importance of constructing this learning community. And I was wondering, what are the mechanisms or the instruments that you have to ensure the exchange of good practices and knowledge in Spain? And if you have some examples of some certain autonomous communities or something that it's done at the national level.
Well, this is part of our this is one of the objectives of this solid report system that we are creating. So far, we are doing this by the meetings we have every 3 or 6 months with the regional communities, and also with the observatory de Infancia, observatory of the children. What we plan to do is to create, and this will we will need assistance from a technical assistance that we will open in a contract, because we want to really create a community. We don't know if it will be online, if it will have, if it will be physically, but we want to make this in a structured way. But so far, we are sharing the information with this mechanism that we have in our governance system, which is the conferencias, the conferences, the meetings that we have every 3 or 6 months.
I don't see any raised hands.
Horácio, peço desculpa, mas não consigo adicionar.
Horatio, I apologize. I can't seem to add to the Q&A the question. So Amanda has asked one of the questions that I had prepared for Maria. And I wanted to thank Maria and Marit for their presentations. I have a question for Marit. I would like to introduce myself. I belong to the national coordinating team for the Child Guarantee in Portugal. I'm working on this project on a monitoring system. And I would like to share with you our difficulties, our gaps with regards to data in Finland. Given the fact that you have this impressive amount of data and indicators, these indicators, are they aggregated by groups of children? Because the recommendation, the European recommendation, mentions this, and our reality has made us define subgroups that are also highly vulnerable. So, for instance, representatives from the Rom community or migrants as well. These are highly vulnerable groups, and it's important that they have access to essential services. So they have difficulty in having access to data. So in the case of migrants, we have issues around illegal migrants, for instance. These types of situations aren't covered by our health system. So how has Finland gathered data about, for instance, migrants who find themselves in highly vulnerable situations, or these difficult situations that several countries are facing? And also, how do you manage data at a regional level? Again, we're talking about aggregated data. How do you manage the issues around data protection? Could you speak to us a little about data protection as well? 2 questions. Thank you.
Obrigada. It's very large questions and not that easy ones. But of course, we have also problems with these issues. There were maybe 3 the main gaps. One is there is uneven amount of data is available on different groups of children. of course, this with different backgrounds and groups, minority groups, and etc. And there is also more information available for older children, but for the smaller children is less information. Because of their cognitive development, it's difficult to conduct surveys targeted on children under school age, and impossible in case of infants. And there is no continuous subjective well-being data collected from young children themselves, and these surveys are always targeted at parents of the children, and it might cause some problems as well when you ask from parents and not the children themselves. And there are also groups of older children for whom subjective well-being data are not available in the same way as for others. For example, surveys that are carried in schools exclude children who have difficulty in answering questions because, for example, poor language skills or functional limitations. So because we have this school health promotion study, and in this, if you have difficulties in answering because of language or other skills, then your answers may not be sufficient, and then, of course, these vulnerable kids are we don't have enough information on them. And if we think about the surveys, we probably don't have enough or a big enough sample to gather minority groups. And then on the other hand, we have a lot of register-based data. So in that data we have good coverage, but then we have problems, for example, that we don't have information on any city, for example. So yeah, and then secondly, the knowledge base does not always describe the key phenomena of well-being, and the production of well-being data is very well established, but on the other hand, it can be somehow slow, and as a result, indicators react slowly to the rapid changes in the modern world. And if I think about at the moment, digitalization might be one thing that we don't have that much information, and it causes a lot of mental problems, for example. So we need to catch these as well and try to follow the society all the time. And then we have there is also lack of background variables. For example, information about language, foreign background, and functional limitations, and information of parents' educational background, for example, or socioeconomic status. So there are gaps, I must tell. And in register data, we have more background information, but when it comes to surveys, it's data protection comes when you can't, and regional level, it's difficult to study things with more variables, because then you can be recognized who are you talking about in small common municipalities, for example. I don't know if it gave something, but we have problems as well.
It's good to know that we have shared problems. It's a work in progress. Thank you.
And I think that it's important also to discuss at the international level about we have common problems.
Thank you, Maria. I'm mindful of the time. We are already quite a few minutes after the official time of the end of the meeting, but because we started a little bit late, I was giving a bit tolerance, but I think we should aim to finish this in before 1 o'clock. So I would like to give the floor to a local unit. If there is any question from a local unit, I think it will be this event is mainly designed for you to participate and for you to share with you your concerns and your questions. So if anyone would like to raise a question, please feel free to raise your hand. Meanwhile, I'm going to switch to Portuguese. Eu quero aproveitar a ocasião para agradecer
I want to take this opportunity to thank all of the local units and for answering the survey on indicators and monitoring. It is extremely useful. We don't have 2,400, but we have 1,300 indicators in the database. So I am looking forward to classifying the information.
So if there's no questions, I want to ask one final question to Mario related, in fact, to the issues that I'm having with the questionnaire, which is how to, and maybe Maria can also have views about it. One of the things that I have noticed going through this questionnaire, in which more than 50 municipalities have replied about the indicators that they have used. One of the things that I have noticed is that definitions are not always clear. So, for example, when I have asked in the questionnaire if there was information at a local level about child poverty rates or number of children who are poor, many municipalities said yes. And then when I had a follow-up with some of them by email, then I realized that what they consider as a poor child is someone who's receiving a means-tested benefit, a child benefit, and not, our, at least me as an analyst, thinking that, you're using the poverty line, the 60% of the median equalized income. So, what strategies do you have to make sure that the information that you receive is really what you aim to ask and not what you may have asked, but that may be misinterpreted, especially when you have so many channels, so many people replying to your question. Madit, maybe you would like to start?
Well, I think it's important to show the definitions or what we are looking for. I remember that we have done, we participated in some workshop where this was clarified what kind of things are we are interested in. But if I remember correctly, they also, from the municipalities, they wished common definitions and indicators, because there are also differences between municipalities.
Maria, in your case, it's more about implementation indicators, but again, you also mentioned a validation process. So I suppose you also have some kind of quality check of the information that you're receiving.
Yeah, well, Horacio, as I said, regarding the indicators, I cannot help much because I'm not expert on this. It is an issue we have because, as I said, I'm trying to look for the, in the mapping we did to make this collection of information, the one I said manually, we from the actions we analyzed and from the actions we received, we quantify more than 500 types of indicators given by the communities. This is a contrast. This is a contrast as in our plan, in the central plan, in our NAP, we give 17 indicators. We propose 17 indicators in the National Action Plan as follow-up system. So we face this thing, and it's one of our challenges to solve.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, so it seems like we all have the same kind of challenges. And Sonia, so this is the challenge for you. So, but another challenge is just to say to close the session. So I hand you the floor for closing the session. And thank you so much, everybody, for the participation. And thank you so much, Mariut and Maria and Ramon for your presentations. It was extremely useful. Thank you so much. Again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Muito obrigada.
Thank you, Mariut and Maria. Maria, it's so nice to see you again in this square format. I want to tell you here is that the main conclusions that we can learn from this is that really the challenges are not specific to a country. They're global. In this era of globalization, our challenges are extremely similar. There are true comparisons between the implementation strategy underway in Spain and the Portuguese one. Although the Portuguese one, of course, the country isn't regionalized. We only have 2 regions that are autonomous, but we've placed a bet on the local level, that of the municipalities. And this is what we're doing. This is how we're traveling our own path. Our challenges are very similar. So we have a representative from the City Hall of Almada, and the representative asked very pertinent questions. And in our passage throughout our country, and as we're working with local communities, there are 126 thus far that we visited. We have tremendous challenges, not only for us, since we are working actively since January of 2023, but those who are working locally. I think people that work locally need to understand that they have a fundamental role to play. We cannot have detail. We cannot gather detailed knowledge if we don't have a reality of children at a very local level. I want to thank Mariut for her perspective on well-being. And I want to underline here that the child guarantee, in my opinion, has to transport this idea of well-being for children. We have to promote children's well-being. What does the child need in order to have fundamental rights guaranteed so that they indeed are guaranteed well-being? And what they need to have guaranteed is what leads us to our system and how important it will be for us to gather the information in the most adequate manner. Children need to be protected. They need to have access to essential services. But the different services must be proactive. They must remain attentive and open to everyone. It's only in this manner that we can truly promote the well-being of children. Thank you, Mariut, for your perspective, for the different dimensions that you demonstrated that are promoters of well-being. I'm sure that we'll be speaking many times. We have a lot to learn from you, but I think the idea is that really within well-being, we have guarantees for children, we have protection for children in situations of violence and great vulnerability. So this opportunity, and I think that this is one of the main issues that we're discussing in Portugal, is how can we have these children away from harm, away from dangerous situations. And we believe that it's through prevention. Prevention will be key. It will be key to a sound future for all of these children. Maria, thank you very much for your presentation. I'm quite aware of our context. We've worked several times together. We have 27 coordinators that are in touch with the European Commission. We have shared a great deal of information between us. I've had several opportunities to travel to Spain to be present in meetings about the child guarantee. And of course, I'm quite aware of what our brothers and sisters are doing in Spain. And it has to do a lot with what we're doing in Portugal. That is, we want to be interconnected. Now, it is true, we don't have a similar, completely similar regional level, but our objective is to have 278 local representatives that will work using a specific network. And I can tell you that today we have more than 900 people that are engaged in the child guarantee. So our capacity to organize and collect information, but also to have specific criteria. This is what Maria had mentioned. Of course, we have a large quantity of indicators due to a mapping of these indicators that we had previously done. So once again, organization will be key. We must remain focused on the impact, and that was mentioned today as well. And we have this possibility, that is the ability to understand how these measures are going to produce an impact in the lives of these children. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the OECD, and it's always up to you, obviously, to provide rich feedback, pertinent information. I think that we're all in agreement with regards to this. We want to organize a third workshop. We cannot, at this very moment, share with you the date because we're still fine-tuning certain details, but we want these workshops to be very important for the exchange of information so that we can continue to focus on the child guarantee in Portugal. We want it to be an added value for all those who are working in the name of children who are in either vulnerable situations or in and please allow me to thank the interpreters. I want to acknowledge that it's difficult, it's complex. I don't know how they do it. So please, I want to thank the interpreters who have been working tirelessly to transmit the message. I don't know if Mira is still on with us, but I also want to thank Lauren Hoppa. And I want to thank equally all those who helped to organize this workshop. Thank you, everyone.